Hello guys, once again it's Matt and today we have another video. Thank you all the members, all the patrons, make sure to subscribe and let's get into it guys. So today I wanted to do a tier list video. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and just a minor disclaimer first, this is my opinion about the aircraft in the game, okay guys? Yeah, I'm not personally attacking you, so chill. When I say an aircraft is bad or good, it's with my personal experience, okay? Jesus, some people take these things too seriously. But yeah, let's get into it. And we're going to rate between top dogs, great, but with one thing that doesn't make it a top dog. Not great, not terrible. A mid aircraft, if you can say it. Good at one thing, an aircraft that it's not particularly amazing, but it has that one thing that it does correctly, like CAS or interception or whatever that is. And then I would stay away, an aircraft that I probably would stay away for the most part, you know. And of course, we are rating tier 8. So let's just get into it. I don't want this video to be too long. This intro is already too long. So we have the Chinese at the start over here, the Chinese Tech 3, the J8F. A very good aircraft, I think. I gotta be honest, with its BR and stuff, it can be very good, but it's not a top dog. So I would probably add it in great, but the missiles is basically what carries this aircraft together with the performance. It has a very good thrust weight, 2 amazing engines, together with 6 amazing missiles, which are the Python 3s, right? So it's a very good aircraft, but you know, it's not a top dog. It doesn't have BVR, it doesn't have anything like that. So yeah. Then we go for the MLU, the F-16A Block 20 MLU. I would also put on great, but, or, I mean, I would probably put it in the top dog side of things, just because it is the only F-16A that basically does everything. CAS, everything, you know? I would put some aircraft above these that I will say it afterwards, like the F-16C, the MiG-29 SMT, but only because this thing doesn't have AIM-9Ms. If it actually received AIM-9M, it would be right there on top, together with the F-16C. So yeah, but it is pretty much a top dog, just because it has these all-around capabilities, while being one of the best F-16s in the game already. Then we go for the Mirage 2005F. Of course, remember, all of these were added after, you know, the tier changes and the economic changes that we had, right? The Mirage 2000-5, I think it's an amazing aircraft, and I would put it probably above this after the Super 530 and MatAWG 2 buff that we had, and the inclusion of an HMS. You know, it is a very good aircraft. I still prefer some others, but it's still one of the top dogs. If used correctly, it can basically beat anything. And with the MatAWG 2, with its proper IRCCM, I think it's more effective than an F-16, even without as many missiles as the F-16 can have it. And of course, it is still a very good, very, very good CAS platform. The Mirage 2000C, although it is very similar to it, because it lacks the CAS capability, I would put it great, but just because, not that it like lacks, you know, but it lacks the guided part of the CAS option. So that makes it for a great aircraft, but it has this little problem overall. Always remember, I'm taking into consideration the tier of the aircraft, or the BR of the aircraft, and all the capabilities of that aircraft. If you can do a little thing better, or all sorts of things better than other aircraft, I will consider that, okay? The Mirage 2000D, I think it would be right here. It's a great CAS aircraft, but in the air-to-air role, it's alright. I mean, the MatAWG 2 is amazing, has an amazing radar. The performance is alright as well, it's not bad. But, you know, it's there, but it's not, it doesn't have BVR, it doesn't have anything like that. And although it has an amazing missile for defending itself, it is just 2 of them. So that's why I would suggest that these are a little bit easier to fly, especially in the ARB. But of course, this one is better in CAS. But of course, it's harder to defend itself as well. Then we go for the MiG-29 912A. I would probably consider this aircraft probably like here or here, you know, somewhere between that. Why? Because it does have the R27ER, amazing missile, probably the best PVR missile in the game, together with still 4 okay-ish missiles in top tier, which are the R60Ms, a very good radar, very good IRST, and it has a helmet. So it's an amazing aircraft. It's the best performing MiG-29 out there, but it doesn't have any type of guided air-to-air, air-to-ground capability, and it doesn't have any advanced missiles from the 80s. So it doesn't have the R-73, it doesn't have the R-27ET, so it's great, but it has its problems. The Tornado IDS, I think it would be good at one thing, which is basically CAS if you're going to use in ground RB, and if you're going to use in air RB, it is only good at bombing. Defending itself, it can defend itself, and it has a fairly good BR for it, especially with the Marine Flieger. I think the Marine Flieger is even better at that because of the BR, but they're very much, only good at that. So it's kind of hard to fight sometimes some of the other aircraft, okay? Then we go for the AV-8B+, one of the new aircraft that got added. I would say that it's right here, because it doesn't have the performance on the aircraft to actually fight these other aircraft, but it has the AIM-9M, which is an amazing missile for defending itself, and it's amazing at CAS as well. So for ground RB, it's one of the best out there. It can take like 10 GBUs with a thermal imaging system, so it's amazing. It really is. And it can defend itself, but it doesn't have the speed. On RRB, you will be a little bit lacking on that sense because you don't have the reach to go for a target. So I would suggest that the AV-8B is there. Tornado ADV, I think it's not great, not terrible. I gotta be honest, it depends on the BR that you are. If you face like the BR that you are, like 11.0, 11.3, something like that, it's pretty good. If you face a down tier, it's amazing. You can dominate with it. And if it faces a higher tier, it gets completely clapped. So it's not an amazing aircraft, but it's not bad as well. It doesn't do cast or anything like that, obviously. It's very good at interceptions, but it has to have the correct BR. If it has, and it normally has, so it's good, but it's not amazing, but it's not bad as well. It's a middle ground between these aircraft. If you actually receive the AIM-9M, it might be great, So yeah, Tornado IDS from 1995 on the same boat as the good at one thing, same aircraft basically. F-16 Block 15 ADF, very similar to something like the MiG-29 912A, I would say. It would be probably, it depends on what you were talking about it here, but I would suggest that the MiG-29 is still better, It doesn't have the most, like, at all, actually, CAS, and the PVR missiles are good, but not as good as the MiG, and it has a better AIM-9 than the R60, but I don't know, the performance of it, the 912 can beat it. I have to check it because right now they buffed the actual performance of the F-16s, right? So it might be like, they're like right here. They're all together, in my opinion, over here. The Mirage, the 29 912A, and the F-16 over here. Then we have the F4EJ Kai, another one that I think it's not great, not terrible. I think it's problematic. I would say that I prefer to fly this thing than over the Tornado even, but sometimes I just have more fun. But the BR of this thing doesn't help, and it still only has AIM-9Ls and AIM-7Fs, so it's not the greatest thing ever. If you get into a dogfight, you will basically lose unless it's a Tornado, and even then the Tornado can still win you, if you're not careful. So it's a third generation aircraft that shouldn't really be at a tier 8 even with the missiles that it has right now, but still. F-16AJ, I think it might be like right here as well on top of it. Together with the MLU, I still prefer the MLU because it has a better radar, but people that like to do dogfights will prefer the AJ as well. I just think that these aircraft, they're amazing, but the AJ is amazing because it has the performance, it has the air-to-ground capability, and it is just using the same missiles as the MLU, right? I just like to have the TWS and a radar, so I would still, my personal opinion would be that the MLU is better, but the AJ is amazing as well. JA-37, I gotta be honest, guys, until we receive the Gripen, I would stay away. It's an aircraft that doesn't have much to be added. I mean, yes, the M120 will be added at some point to it, but a lot of these aircraft will receive those missiles as well, and they have a better radar than this thing. They have better performance, so I would just stay away until the Gripen comes. It's not a really bad aircraft, but because of the way that it is and the aircraft that it's actually fighting, I would stay away. It's not a bad aircraft, don't get me wrong. I would probably put it in the middle over here if it was just for the performance. But because of the grind and stuff, it's not really not worth it for now, in my opinion, you know? So don't get me wrong, it is an okay aircraft to fly, has AIM-9Ls and stuff, but I would try to stay away. Tornado F3, pretty much the same as the EDV, so we already talked about it. Harrier GR7, this one I had to actually add it together with the Harrier, the AV8B Plus, right? They're very similar to each other. The good part is that it has a little bit more performance because of the extra weight that it doesn't have compared to the Plus, but it doesn't have a radar as well. So yeah, on the air-to-ground capability, I'm pretty sure the AV8B Plus is a little bit better, but not by much. They are very similar to each other, and they have the same missile to defend itself. They just don't have the performance to be a top dog in the air normal battles, right? Tornado IDS as well, together with the other tornadoes. The Kurnas 2000, I would say that it's similar to the JK over here. I would probably put it a little bit better just because it has the Python 3. Although it doesn't have BVR, it has the Python 3, which helps a little bit depending on the situation and personal opinion, but they would be kind of similar to each other. One having more IR missiles that are arguably better technically in a dogfight, and one with BVR missiles, right? So yeah. Then we go for the F-16D Block 40. Of course, out of all the other ones that we talked about it, I would probably put it right here. I don't know, man. I feel like the Mirage has a better chance of winning against the Block 40 in the dogfight, so I'll probably put the Mirage above that. But compared to the other ones, this has more power, although it will lose in a dogfight, definitely against these two. It has way better missiles and way better air-to-ground. So although it would lose in a dogfight against these two, I still think that it's pretty amazing. Then, of course, the nets. I gotta say, it was going to be right up here, but it is getting a new BR. So, I don't know. I feel like it's pretty alright. I just think that it has a little bit less capability than these two. I'll probably put it right here. With the new BR, we will see it, how it performs, but it won't change too much. It probably is amazing. It's just that, honestly, I prefer to have 2 Sparrows and also with everything else than to just have 6 Pythons, you know? So, I don't know. It's more of a personal opinion. But yeah, the Pythons are amazing, and they should be around the same level over here, I think, depending on personal preference. Then we go for the Soviet/Russia. You know, the MiG-29 913, I think it's a little bit better than the 912, in my opinion, because it has more fuel. But if you like performance, the 912 would be better. So it depends on what you stand on this thing. I prefer to have a little bit more fuel. But still, everything else is pretty much the same. Doesn't have the R-73s or anything like that. So I wouldn't, and especially with the F-16s receiving the upgrade on the flight model, I think right now they're not the greatest thing ever. They lack the CAS capability, they lack the R-73, so they're amazing, but they lack a little bit. The SMT though, I don't know, man. Even though, yes, this thing will lose for every single aircraft over here in a dogfight, the missiles are so good that I still prefer to use this thing over this any day of the week. You know, the R-73 is amazing, and it's way more reliable than the Magic 2, and in my opinion, way more reliable than the AIM-9M if you use it correctly. And the R-27, I mean, with the Zook radar, it becomes a menace. You know, you can beat stuff from a very far distance, and that's another thing. It has the extra weight that these aircraft don't have, but it has the extra fuel, man. It has a lot of fuel so that you can stay on the battle for a very long time. And with the engines that you have, if you use it correctly, you don't need to actually properly use the performance of the aircraft. The missiles will basically carry you. It's an amazing, amazing aircraft right now, and together with the CAS capability, that it's worse than most of these aircraft, but still it's there. I think it is a little bit better, you know. Then we have the Yak-41M. I think it's there. I think it's still a better option to fly than a lot of these aircraft. It depends on what you want to do. In a dogfight, I would still take an F-16 over this, but in the BVR, I would still take an Yak-41 over any of these. So it depends on what do you like. And it doesn't have air-to-ground capability, so it's more of a personal opinion. I will leave it in the middle over here because it's much better in some areas and much worse in others, but it's still very much a top dog. Then we go for the US, F-14B. I think it's amazing. It can be very good in the right hands. I will put it right here in the middle with the MiG-29s. No, I think a little bit better maybe, right? Because it does have the capabilities of actually doing very good CAS. So I think, yeah, it's very good at CAS, has amazing power, it is very good in a dogfight. The only problem that I see with it is the missiles. Still using the Sparrows, you know, it's not a bad missile, but it's just there. Other aircraft have that missile as well. The AIM-9L is okay, nothing too crazy, but it's not bad as well, so it's there. And the Phoenix is, with the new RWRs, is not really usable, I think. So yeah, I don't know. Then the F-16A Block 10, I think it depends on the personal opinion, but I would put it right here. Very good aircraft, but it lacks BVR. The CAS is there, but it is a little bit limited. It's pretty much the same as the Nets, but the Nets has the Python 3s, right? The only option that this aircraft has is to dogfight everybody. If you are facing a BVR weapon, you only have one option, flying low, basically, or going cold, right? So, yeah. The Block 15 as well, right there. F-14A, this one is complicated. I think I would put it, like, right here, maybe. I don't know, somewhere around here. It's a great aircraft. I would put it in the middle over here. It's a great aircraft, but it has its problems. The missiles are really bad, you know, AIM-9s especially. The other missiles are alright, but the AIM-9s are really bad for the BR that he has, or that he faces, if he faces a top tier. The performance it lacks a little bit because it doesn't have the extra power that the B has. And the radar is very easily fooled, so it's alright. Nothing too crazy. You can still deal a lot of damage, but it's beginning to show its weaknesses, you know. And then we have the F-16C Block 50, the last one, the best F-16 in the game technically. And I would put it, for the sake of easiness of use, I would put it right here. Just because it's a more complete aircraft compared to the MiG-29. I personally prefer to fly the SMT, but it's because I love the MiG-29. But the F-16C, for the majority of the players, will be easier to use, you know. It has the AIM-9M, which is an amazing missile, has the Sparrows, it has the APG-68, which is a much improved radar over the older APG-66s, and it has an amazing air-to-ground capability. So, for the majority of the players, I think the F-16C overall is a better jack of all trades, a better multi-role, and in general can do easier stuff that the MiG-29 SMT can also do. Although, in the BVR, it's more like this. This is good in BVR, this is good in a dogfight, this is good in the IR missile, this is great in the CAS options, has a good radar, but this has an amazing radar, amazing BVR, amazing IR missiles. It lacks on the dogfight a little bit, it's heavier. It lacks a little bit on the CAS, although it has some form of guided CAS. So it depends on the personal opinion. As I said, I would still take the SMT over the F-16 because of the missiles, but the F-16 probably it is easier to use to the majority of the players. That would be my tier list, guys. Don't get me wrong, the vegan is not that bad, it's just that I would stay away for the grind itself right now. Okay, and the Tornadoes, they are hard to fly. These aircraft are harder to fly. This becomes a little bit easier and easier and easier until you are on the top dogs. Okay, that's how it works. Anyway, leave in your opinion. What did I miss? What did I get wrong? And I see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys. See ya.